there! I've got some books that I've read recently that I'd like to tell you about. The first book is My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brodi, Ashton, and Jodi Meadows. This is a young adult alternate history retelling of the 9-day reign of Lady Jane Grey, with just a few teeny tiny little details changed. The main addition is that certain characters have the magical ability to turn into animals sometimes. It's just a small difference. I was iffy about this one, but two people managed to convince me to give it a try, and I was very pleasantly surprised. It's a hilarious and wonderfully imaginative, albeit totally fantastical and anachronistic and a little weird remodeling of history. Are the Tudor family throne wars maybe not something you're incredibly interested in? Me neither. It doesn't matter. This was so funny and interesting and different and romantic that it pulled me in spite of that. Plus, I loved how the authors threw in a cheeky, alternate history, Shakespearean authorship explanation. The second book is The Day of the Triffids by Wyndham. This is a sci-fi horror classic from the 1950s, which I've been intending to read since I was 12? Was it everything I hoped for? Yes and no. It's a post-apocalyptic survival story, and as such, it has its share of slow progress, bleak moments, and ponderous where do we go from here as a human race philosophizing. But I enjoyed the ethical side of it all. I always enjoy survival ethics, and the setup of the book, the first couple chapters especially, were awesome. I really had no idea what the book was about, although I do think I had an inkling that there were killer plants involved. So the first couple chapters that introduced the main character lying blindfolded in a hospital bed and waking to a silent world in which nearly everyone else has mysteriously lost their vision overnight was really freaky. Even if the rest of the book turned out to be a total dud, the beginning would still be amazing. Fortunately, the rest of the book wasn't bad either. What the ominous Triffids in the title actually are does have the potential to be a little silly, but the serious, logical way Wyndham handles them makes it work, and the fact that the majority of the world's population has gone blind makes the whole situation 10 times more disturbing. There is a movie adaptation of The Day of the Triffids, by the way. It came out in 1963 and stars Howard Keel? Really? He is not someone I would have expected to star in a film adaptation of The Day of the Triffids. There's also a TV miniseries from 1981, which is pretty well rated on IMDb, and a modernized miniseries from 2009. I can't comment on how good or bad any of these adaptations are, but I did read the book, and I liked it. I thought it was a good sci-fi, horror, survival, adventure thriller. The third book I still have a physical copy of. It's The Little Riders by Margaretha Shemin and illustrated by Peter Spear. This book was recommended by a friend who shares my enthusiasm for The Silence of the Sea and its adaptations. This is a children's book about a young girl, Joanna, who was living temporarily with her Dutch grandparents in Holland and ended up having to stay with them after the German invasion and occupation in 1940. The Little Riders of the title are a group of 12 metal soldiers who reside in the clock tower. They come out and march every hour on the hour as little Dutch tunes ring out all over the city. But it's only a matter of time before the Germans decide to take away this sign of Dutch independence and individuality, and when that time comes, it's up to Joanna and her grandparents to rescue the little soldiers from the Germans. Where the connection to The Silence of the Sea comes in is that there's a German officer who takes a room in their house, Joanna's room. Joanna struggles with pent-up feelings of anger and resentment toward him, but she gradually learns that all may not be as it seems with the German officer. So this was a lovely story. It had good characters, a nice message, and an ending that made me cry a little bit, but it was a bittersweet, happy cry, and I'm just a sappy person like that. And lastly is a book I'm actually currently reading, Every Living Thing by James Herriot. A few months ago, my brother-in-law and I were talking about our enjoyment of Herriot's books, and he told me that there were 5 books in the All Creatures Great and Small series, not 4 as I thought, which is like thinking that you've eaten all the cookies in the package and then discovering that there was a whole row that you missed. These books are some of the happiest things I've ever read. Herriot was a country veterinarian in Yorkshire who wrote semi-fictionalized accounts of his personal and professional experiences in this series as well as in a couple other books. His storytelling style is overflowing with love for his work, his patient's owners, and the beautiful countryside that surrounded him, and his sense of humor is delightful and always makes me laugh. He does also take a sensitive moment now and then to tell of cases in which animals unfortunately could not be cured. These situations are sad and they often make me cry, but Herriot handles them very gently. I did a review of the first book, All Creatures Great and Small, a long time ago. It's not the best review. It's in my fledgling days as a reviewer, and it's really more of a reaction video made for the friend who urged me to read the book in the first place. But it was a very enthusiastic video, as befitted a book that I came to consider one of my favorite reads of 2014. I recommended it then, and I still recommend it now. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope there was something among the books I mentioned to spark your interest. I haven't made a video quite like this before, so if you like it, I'll think about making it a semi-regular thing. Thanks for watching. Bye!